Good morning, my dear students. So today we will talk about Coulomb's law. So this is the equation or this is the law that we will follow kung magsosolve tayo ng magnitude ng electric force. If you remember, di ba, when we want to know about the value of the gravitational force, for example, we use mass times acceleration to gravity, di ba, or m times g. So here we will introduce the equation for electric forces naman. Sorry. Let me get straight to the point by telling you this bulleted concepts. The first one, so syempre, dahil yung electric force ay, it's a force. So you would expect that the unit will be newtons. Okay, pag nag-solve ka ng electric force, dapat kalabasan ay newtons. Second one, electric force is a vector. So you have to provide me with two information. So the magnitude of the force and the direction of the force. Now, in terms of the direction ng force, it depends on two factors. The first one, ano yung charge noong interacting object? Ibig sabihin, sila ba ay both positive or both negative or opposite signs? And then, what is their spatial orientation? Sila ba ay arranged like this? For example, if they are both positive or arranged like this, and so on. The next one, the magnitude of electric force, diba? It depends on three variables actually. So the magnitude of the interacting objects. So for example, this is object A, object B, so dalawang variable na, diba? Both of their magnitudes can affect the magnitude of the electric force. When I say magnitude of object A, I'm referring to the quantity of charge ng object A. Okay? And also the distance between them. Let's talk more about that later on. Okay, first let's talk about direction of electric forces. So again, it depends on two factors, but let's talk about this one. Charge of interacting charges or objects. So let's see this figure below. Object A and B are both negative. Kita mo yung arrow, diba? The arrow represents the electric force. So force of A on B. So dahil both negative silang dalawa, they will exert a repulsive force on each other. So makita mo yan dito, ibig sabihin itutulak nila papalayo yung isa't isa. They don't want to be near each other or they are not attracted to each other. Force of A, ibig sabihin, force na binibigay ng A on B, doon sa B. You can see na patulak siya papalayo. And that's the same with this one. Same in length or same in magnitude. Opposite in direction nga lang, di ba? So ito ang force na binibigay ng B on A. So dapat ganyan yung itsura ng electric forces mo, pointing away from each other. If you have charges that are same in sign, okay, or like signs. Different if you have opposite signs object, like for example objects C and D. So positive and negative, you would expect that the force is attractive. How do you demonstrate that? So dapat yung arrow mo magmi-meet sa isa't isa, di ba? For example, this one, this is the force of C, binibigay ng C doon sa D. So inihila yung object D papunta sa kanya, sa object C, because again, they are attracted to each other. Same in magnitude na naramdaman ng positive, but again, opposite in direction. This one points to the left, this one points to the right. Now, what do I mean by spatial orientation? So, kanina pahiga yung arrows, di ba? What about this one? O, di dapat patayo na, di ba? So, this is the force given by the blue charge. Attraction. So, pointing to the blue charge, hinihila niya. This is the force given on the blue charge by the green charge. So right now, ano sila? Patayo sila, di ba? What if diagonal? The technique is to just draw a line. Yung line na magiging pattern mo ng direction ng arrow. The line is coming from the center of the charge. So this is the force of attraction exerted by the blue, and this is the force of attraction exerted by the green. Okay? Now let's talk about magnitude of charge. So finally, this is the Coulomb's law. So according to the Coulomb's law, the electric force is dependent on three variables. Magnitude of the interacting charges, that's Q1 and Q2, and the distance between them. That's the D here in the denominator. Let me tell you about K later on. So again, F, electric force, newtons. Q1 is the quantity of charge of object 1. So this is Q1. You can find that here. That's in coulombs. How many coulombs? This is Q2. This is the distance between them. So this is my D. Square pa yun eh. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng K? Constant ito. So meron ka talagang value. Sorry. Remove this. 9 times 10 to the 9th. Newton times meter squared over coulomb squared. So, ang value nito actually is dependent kung nasaan yung iyong objects. For example, balloons that are hanging from the ceiling. So, the object are immersed in air. So, ang value ng K kapag air ay this one. Different if they are immersed in water. But most of the time, we will be dealing with objects immersed in air. If they are not immersed in air, ibibigay naman yung value ng K. Okay? Also notice that the units. This is the units for K. This is the unit for Q1, Q2. This is the unit for M. I-square mo pa siya. So, dalawang C, di ba? M squared. So, you will really get newtons as your unit for electric force. Okay, let's interpret it more. The Coulomb's law. Again, if you have two balloons that are charged positively, they will repel each other. The forces, the vectors will look like this or will be represented like this. Paano magiging greater yung repulsion based on paano lalaki yung yung F mo based on the Coulomb's law? Tingnan mo yung mga variables na nasa taas, di ba? So, kung yung object A, kikiskisin mo pa siya ng mas matagal, that means more charges will be transferred, di ba, on the balloon. That will result to an increase in electric force na naramdaman ng mga balloons. Kapag kiniskis mo din yung Q2, that's another increase. Okay? That means if you double both Q1 and Q2, if you double the amount of charge, that will quadruple the electric force because dalawang beses kang nagdoble, di ba? Kasi parehas ng Q1 and Q2 nangyari yun. If you want to know kung paano magde-decrease yung electric force, look at the variables below the fraction bar. So, distance. If the balloons are closer together, smaller distance, the repulsion will be stronger. Tataas yung electric force. Okay? Inverse ang kanilang relationship. Pero pag pinaglayo mo yung distance between the balloons, you will expect that the electric force will be lower now. No. It makes sense actually kasi hindi na masyadong naramdaman yung isa't isa kasi layo na nila. Diba? Yung mga charges, I'm referring to them. Also, Coulomb's law is applicable to point charges only. Okay? When I say point charges, isang point lang doon sa object yung i-consider natin. So, for example, if you have this charge or this object, di ba madami siyang charges around it. Pero we will only assume that the electric force is acting on the center of the object. So, pag tatanungin ka ng distance, nagmumula yun sa center ng object. Okay, this is the distance. Kasi you will consider them as point charges. Isang point lang, nandoon yung charge.